Hi, good morning. Happy Sunday. Hope everyone's having a great Sunday. This is another episode of um, just talking about or answering your questions about weight loss, overeating, and binge eating, and still trying to figure out how to get this whole camera angle perfect so you can see me clearly without seeing all the mess in the back. But it's okay. I'm just a human, so I get messy stuff around as well. Um, yeah, so today we're going to keep answering questions about weight loss, why you're not losing weight, what kind of weight loss tips and tricks that there's out there available that work so you can save some time and money trying different things and being a human guinea pig. Okay, let's get started. Sorry, I'm a little bit out of breath today because the weather's been kind of, I think it's allergy season right now, so my asthma is slightly, so I've been kind of short of breath. So pardon me for that. So I'm just gonna read some of the questions that my assistant prepared for me. I'll try to answer the question in the Facebook page if I can, but if not, I'll answer it over here. There's tons of questions, like a lot, a lot, a lot. I might not be able to answer all of these, but I'll try my best because a lot of these questions pretty much have a very common theme. A lot about like um, why you're not losing the weight, what kind of strategies work, and things like that. And I answer all of that as best as I can. Okay, okay. Let's. So some of these questions I'll answer quickly. Some I might spend more time to answer, and I'm just gonna leave my little note here. Okay. Is only doing cardio for weight loss okay? Trying to lose weight about 30 pounds, and I've been doing 10% incline and 2.7 speed for 20 to 30 minutes the past 9 days. Okay. This is exercise is one of the misconception that people often think. So a little bit quick background from my point of view. So my personal thing is I try to advocate for weight loss in women because what I notice in my own practice, I notice that a lot of the weight loss advice actually doesn't work for women. So I lean more towards like my answer, the content in my blog and my um, social media leans more towards for women. So like this person, the question she's asking is if you're just doing cardio, is that okay for weight loss? And she wants to lose 30 pounds. So I'm going to answer this on on focusing on the women's weight loss side of the thing. So I think a lot of times what I see a lot in my practice is I see a lot of women for weight loss and I also see a lot of active duty soldier for weight loss as well. What I notice is that men and women lose weight differently. With men, I can give them the conventional advice, cut the calories, increase exercise, weight training, and all those. The weight just come off as expected. But for women, doing the same thing, exactly the same advice I give to men, they don't lose weight. Some will come back with the same weight, some comes back with even more weight gain. And this is the thing that I've been seeing, like at least last few when I start doing all this weight loss and same weight loss pattern is the same thing I see over and over and over again. Or if I see the women and I give them a meal plan or the whole eating lifestyle plan that I give the wife or the girlfriend and they go home and follow it, 100% of the time, like the specific plan that I actually developed now, they follow it 100% of the time they lose the weight. But what I see is that most of them will lose like a few pounds. Like if they follow correctly, they'll lose weight compared to like for the past year they haven't lost anything. But the boyfriend and the husband who's doing exactly the same thing as them will lose double the amount of weight that they lost. So that's kind of my background from where I was. So answering your question about this is that my point is try to tell you is that weight loss or the conventional weight loss advice generally doesn't work for women as much as it works for men. So a lot of my advice and recommendations are based on um, are more focused on helping women lose weight. That's kind of where my background is. So again, sorry for diverting. I'm going to go back to the question again. So the question here is that this person wants to lose 30 pounds, and her question is it okay to just do cardio? And my answer will be yes. And I'm going to add even more to that. So for women, the purpose of exercising is really not to torture your body, push your body into a calorie deficit or anything like that. The purpose of exercise for the women's body is more so for mental health, because what we've noticed is in women, when we stress our body more, and like I said, I see this all the time. When these women exercise at a high intensity level, like exercising with their spouse, their husband, and a boyfriend, doing CrossFit every day, running 5, 6 miles every day, lifting heavy weights, doing heavy, high resistance cycling on the machine, they seldom lose weight. They always come back and stuck at the plateau or not lose weight at all, or they feel super tired afterwards. Those are all signs that those exercises are too intense. So what happened is when I asked my patient to drop the exercise, just exercise like 2 to 5 times a week and just do low intensity exercise, like just going for a walk, doing yoga. And actually one of my patients, she was still cycling. She's doing the stationary bike at home, but she told me that she dropped down the intensity and she lost weight. So exercise is not about burning the calories for women. Exercising for women is more just for mental health and just for conditioning. That's what exercise is. So cardio, just doing cardio is fine. If you can put in like some strength training, that's good too. But in my opinion, you can just do yoga, because a lot of times yoga seems like a very lame exercise for most people try to lose weight. But let me tell you, the intensity of the muscle involvement in yoga, you can actually build some really good muscle tone with yoga. Like I did this yoga sequence the other day more on the core. My belly is still hurting 3 days after that. So just a reminder, yoga is just as good. Okay, next question. How often do you all weigh yourself? I've been doing every day and it's consistently going down, but sometimes a random 3 pounds is added. I'm guessing from water weight. I've always been confused about water weight. Anyway, it's better to wait once a week? Question mark. Okay, how often you should weigh yourself? I'll be like never. Like I don't weigh myself ever unless I go to my doctor's office and they weigh me. Um, and even in my office, when my patient come in, I might weight them like once a week if they're following with me once a week. If they're following up with me once, no, I mean, if they're following with me once a month, I'll weight them once a month, only on in the scale in my office. If they're coming to follow up with me once a week, I don't weight them every week, because I know a lot of you have like anxiety just getting on the scale, knowing what your number is. So I try to minimize that stress, because one of the very significant reason why you are gaining weight and not losing weight is actually stress in your life. So any kind of stress can actually cause weight gain, because when you stress, like if you go back to the episode from last week, I talked about stress and triggering the starvation. All of those are part of that. Any kind of stress, starvation, any kind of perceived danger to the body and your living, it's going to trigger a stress response. So that's also explain why some people will say, "Oh my God, I can just start thinking about cake or seeing a piece of cake, and I can start feeling myself gaining weight." It's not exaggeration, it's not imagination, it is the stress and the anxiety that you induce on yourself that's causing the stress response. And when the stress response is up, it tries to hold onto body fats. Same reason why when you're on cortisol or prednisone, you gain body fat is that's what stress does. Um, oh, so how often you weigh yourself? Almost never, if possible, because when you like this person mentioned about water weight, there's this thing about water weight. So just remember, the problem is when you focus on the number on the scale, you might be focusing on the wrong thing. Because if you look at your whole human body, your whole body itself, you're not just a chunk of meat, right? You're made up of tissue, organs, bone tissue, and water. 70% of your body is water. Some of you, and then our body fat composition, everyone is different. Men might have a lower body percentages of like 4 or 5%. I've seen the lowest, or maybe 20, 30%. Some people might have 40% body fats, but we'll talk about that later. But so 70% of our body is water weight. So 30% is all tissue weight, right? So out of that 30% of tissue weight, then how much of that is all body fat? We'll have to kind of count off those into place. And based on the fact that a lot of you are not new to this um, weight loss journey, so you probably seen in like dietitian's office, doctor's office, online, like that the model where the piece of 1 pound fat looks about like this, and then the 1 pound of wait, I forgot. We used to have that. Like 5 pounds of muscle looks like this, 1 pound of fat looks like that. I don't remember. Okay, it's the fat and the muscle comparison. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that your muscle weighs a lot heavier than body fat. So when you start losing body fat, you'll start noticing that your clothes fit differently, and yeah, everything will be different. But anyway, so rather than trying to focus on the number on the scale to gauge your weight loss progress, it's actually better to focus on other things like your energy level, your mood, how well you're sleeping, and then your clothing, how they fit. So, like just recently, I have this patient who's just gave birth about like 15 months ago, and she's still struggling with losing her baby weight. And the problem is that she tried to do everything, all the conventional advice, try to cut on calories, exercising a lot. She's exercising with her husband, and she's still not losing weight. And in fact, she actually gained another 15 pounds on top of the weight that she gained with the baby. So she just kept gaining and gaining weight doing the conventional thing. And then what happened is after she saw me, I gave her all the recommendation that I usually give to my patient, like the what kind of food to cut out, what kind of food to eat, how to reduce the exercise intensity, and all those things. She followed all my advice. A month back, she lost, I think, 4 pounds. Yeah, she lost 4 pounds. She didn't weigh herself the whole time until the day before she came to see me. She decided that, you know what, I just want to kind of step on the scale. So she did, and she noticed she lost 4 pounds. But but again, the number on the scale does not tell you where that 4 pounds came from. But what she noticed is that she went down one full pen size. So that's something to understand, that the number on the scale doesn't give you a full picture. What really gives you a better picture is how you feel. Because besides dropping the weight, dropping one pen size, she also report that she had better energy level, her mood is better, and and her skin clears up too. That's amazing, right? So, but anyway, so those are other things to look out for, because again, your reason to try to lose weight is not to make the scale happy, because the scale never will tell you good job. It doesn't do that. So do it for yourself. Do it to make yourself feel good, not just mentally. Don't feel good because the number on the scale is going the direction for you. Feel good because you feel good in your heart and in your body. Okay, I have to do this. Okay, skip that. Okay, how about this one? I felt like I was starving today. Been hungry since I got up at 5. I broke my fast at 11 instead of 12 with 6 saltine crackers, 14 calories of granola, no, 140 calories of granola. I just ate a Subway tuna wrap for lunch. I weighed 272 pounds. How many calories do you consume in a day to lose weight? I work in an office at a desk, so light activity for now, just starting nutrition, then we'll work on exercise. I've been making good choices the last 2 days, but today I felt like I was starving. I'm diabetic. I'm type 2 diabetic and take metformin in the morning and at night, and I'm also on Topamax. Okay, so type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is actually insulin resistant. So what that means is, so we're going to talk a little bit about biochemistry here, but I'll try to make it easy and quick and painless. Okay, well, normally when we eat anything with carbohydrates or like bread, pasta, rice, noodles, cookies, crackers, chips, things like that, all of those get converted into sugar, specifically blood sugar in the blood. And when the body senses sugar in the blood, it produces something called insulin. And the job of the insulin is to bring the sugar, transport the sugar from the blood and put them into the cells. So that's how insulin decreases the blood sugar level, and by storing the carbs or the sugar into the cells where the sugar is actually used for metabolism. The problem is in insulin resistance usually happen in someone who is generally on a higher carbohydrate diet, and I blame that on the diet advice for the last 30, 40 years. With this whole low fat craze going on in the whole world, everywhere. So when this whole thing, like 20, 40 years ago, when this whole fat is bad thing going on, everyone switched to low fat diet, low fat this, low fat that. What they not realize is that a lot of the low fat products out there is actually high carbs. So because we're taking out the fats, we're not feeling as full. So we ended up becoming a snacking nation. Like almost every day, everyone asks question about, oh, what kind of snacks is good? Like everyone is so crazy about snacks nowadays. But if you go back to like your parents, your grandparents' generation, they don't snack. They just eat 3 meals a day and then they're done. It's because back 30, 40, 50 years ago, people are eating a well balanced diet that have a good amount of protein and fats and not heavy on carbohydrate. But nowadays, almost everyone's diet is so high in carbs. Maybe not everyone, especially in the patients that I see every day. All the overweight kids, all the overweight adults, their breakfast looks like a dessert buffet. So, and then looking at this one, so sounds like this person is doing intermittent fasting again. One of the problems or mistakes that I see that people make with intermittent fasting is that they think that as long as they fasted, that 16 hours, they're golden. And then in the 8 hour eating window, they're just going to eat anything that they want. What they don't realize is that 18 hours of eating, you have to be still have to follow a very clean, or not really clean, but a healthy diet. So like this person, what she's doing is, sounds like she fasted instead. So she fasted for 12 hours. Well, she didn't say how long she fasted, but I assume she doing the whatever 16, 18 hour fast and then skip breakfast. So um, I talked about intermittent fasting before, but I'm just going to focus on this. What happened is when you fasted this long period of time, you actually decrease your insulin, your blood sugar level, everything kind of goes back to normal. But then when you start your feeding period with something high carb, like 6 saltine crackers, 140 calories of granola. You're putting in the wrong kind of fuel into your body. So again, that's like, even though you're counting calories, you feel like you're doing the right thing. That's the reason why I advocate against counting calories, because when you're counting calories, everything goes. You can eat cookies, crackers, desserts all day long as you're within your 1200 calories a day. And that is the wrong approach. Calories doesn't matter. It is the type of food that you eat that matters. Because when you food, eat carbohydrate food that can be converted into blood sugar, remember when your body senses sugar in the blood, it raises insulin. It produces insulin to try to bring the blood sugar low and try to bring that blood sugar into the tissue cells. And when there's so much carbohydrate coming in, your body overproduce insulin and just rush all that carbs, huge rush of carbs into the body cells. But the thing is, your body cells are not using all that carbs, right? So what it does with all that sugar now? So what it does is it turns all that extra sugar that you just ate into body fats. And as this whole process continues on for days, for weeks, for months, for years, eventually you become insulin resistant because when after days, weeks, months, and years of this thing happening, your body cells become saturated with body fats, but you're still not using it up, right? So all this body fat is telling the body that, hey, we can't store anymore. Our warehouse is full, so the cells stay locked. But every time when you're still eating that carbs, your body is still making all this extra insulin. So there's all this high blood sugar and also high insulin, but then your cells are like not opening up. So there's no more space to store all this extra fat. So the fat, instead of storing in the tissue, now gets stored in the belly area on the liver and causing like fatty liver. Then you ended up with high blood high high blood sugar, high insulin, and when insulin is high, one of the job of insulin is not only to bring the blood sugar into the cells, the other job of insulin actually is to block your body from or protect your body from using fat as energy. So now you have all these things going against you, and this is what we call insulin resistance, because now the more carb that you're bringing into your body, your insulin is still there, but your blood sugar is not going anywhere. So it's almost like your body is not recognizing the insulin. So that's what insulin resistance is, and that's type 2 diabetes. Uh, the basis of type 2 diabetes, and also the basis of gestational diabetes and polycystic ovarian syndrome. Yeah. So those conditions all have a insulin resistance component under it. And usually people who have insulin resistance, a few signs and symptoms of insulin resistance is that you have difficulty losing weight. You tend to have more fat around your belly because your body is so saturated with body fat, with tissue fat inside the cells. The fat is being stored outside the tissue around your belly. You might even have fatty liver. Um, you have black markings, and some of you might have like markings, like you're like, oh my god, my neck is so dirty. You keep scrub, and the mark doesn't go away. Sometimes the marks are under your armpit, back of your neck, around your neck. Those dark skin markings are signs of insulin resistance as well. So knowing what causes it, right? So the the cause of the insulin resistance is all this sugar and carbs coming in, and there's no more space to store it. Then the way to reverse and undo all that is really going on a low carb, high fat diet, kind of like the ketogenic diet. I'm not a great advocate for that, but it, in my opinion, it could be a therapeutic diet to help bring the insulin um, resistance back to normal, become more sensitive, and that's one way to do it. So like going back to this person's question is basically is that if she wants to see weight loss and knowing that her background have like a type 2 diabetes and metformin is actually a very good diabetes medication. So is one of the oldest diabetes medication. But yeah, so for this person, for her to be more successful, will probably be focusing on the types of food that she put in. So few more items. So I mentioned that when you eat carbohydrate, your body makes insulin. When your body eats protein, it doesn't quite make insulin. But if you do eat too much protein or drinking a protein shake made from protein powder, then your body will react with some insulin because protein can be converted to blood sugar. And then on the other hand, fat, any type of fat, olive oil, coconut oil, avocado, things like that, does not get converted and will not ever be converted to blood sugar at all. So that's why the high fat, low carb diet helps is it's especially help the ketogenic diet or low carb, high fat diet specifically help people with insulin resistance. And that's a really good diet for those people to try to lose the weight. But then the thing is, we'll also always have to look in the future because what I see is I've seen so many people who come to see me because they can't lose weight, but when I ask them what they have tried, they've tried a ketogenic diet and worked amazing for them, but they're just not able to keep that kind of diet up. And the problem is not because of them or the diet, it's because they don't have the mindset all dialed in. And we'll talk about how mindset affect um, diet and weight loss later on. Because there's a lot of diet out there that helps with weight loss, but almost everyone fail after 2 3 months with the weight loss effort and gain all the way back. It's always because the mindset is not all dialed in. So anyway, and she's probably on Topamax for headache. So and actually, I might read some of this. Let's see, diet pills and powder lose weight. Yes, no, don't do that. Counting macros. I've been calorie and macro counting with intermittent fasting since March 20th. Has anyone issue with menstrual being off at beginning of new diet? I don't know if it's premenopause, but it's not normal for me. I've always regular. Okay. Well, she did mention about premenopause, like the fact that she think about that may mean that she's in the 30s or 40s, I think. So, but anyway, so since she talks about like how changing her diet is affecting her menstrual period, that tells me that one of the cause of her weight gain or her weight issue is actually imbalanced hormone. And like signs of hormonal imbalance usually involve like if you're a female and you tend to gain weight around your period or have cramps around your period, difficulty with weight loss and all those, chances is a hormonal imbalance. And speaking of hormonal imbalance, a lot of times, first thing when we think of hormone as a woman, we always automatically think of the female hormone like the estrogen, progesterone, and things like that. But when I mention, when I say hormonal imbalance, I'm talking not only the sex hormone like estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, all those, but I'm also talking about things like insulin that controls your blood, insulin, glucagon that controls your blood sugar, your hunger satiety hormone like the leptin and the ghrelin, and also hormones that control your metabolism, like the thyroid hormones, and also other hormones that control your sleep and waking pattern, like the cortisol, melatonin, serotonin. All of these are hormones in your body. So anytime when I mention hormonal imbalance, it's not just it's not just the the female hormones. So something to remember. So that will give you a lot. Understanding that will help you a lot in choosing the right kind of food to eat. Because one of the things I advocate a lot of to my patients, and that's kind of one thing that I have most of my patients watch out for, is eating any kind of processed food. And processed food, we're talking about things that comes out from a factory that comes to you in a box, in a package, in a frozen package, like frozen meals, frozen dinners, cookies, crackers, chips, and things like that. That could be on the shelf for 2, 3 years and things like that. And just something to think about. Just the fact that something can sit on the shelf for so long, or you can leave it out for so long, for days, weeks, and years, and even the bacteria doesn't want to eat it. Can you imagine what it does to your body, right? If even a bacteria can't break it down, I don't think the human body can break down those food. So start thinking about that when you're eating all these um, so-called healthy junk food, especially things like granola and like salad dressing and margarine, all those things are advertised as health food, but the reality is they're not even food. So the idea is that, well, it's not really food. You can break it down. It doesn't really give you any calories or energy, right? But the truth is, anything that your body eats and you cannot break it down, it stays in your body and get rotten. And that rotten food, if it if your body cannot get rid of that rotten food, your body just wrap all that toxin into a ball of fat and shove it to one side and leave it there until the time is right, or when your digestive system and everything else is functioning properly, that bag of garbage can comes out, then you'll let it go. But anyway, so this question basically talking about, I think, like I said, is more about hormonal imbalance. So one of the things that I'll recommend for this person to do will be probably trying to go on like more healthy eating, avoiding starvation. Because anytime in women, if you're not premenopause or not in menopause age, if your period stops, it usually means that you're not eating enough energy. So the female body, one of its job is to create new human being, right? So if the body's sensing that you're not even eating enough for you, you're in a starvation mode, there's no way you're going to support a new baby in you. So then the body shuts down that function. And I've talked about this before. When your body senses starvation is happening, it activates the stress emergency stress system. And along with that stress system is it shut down body function. So the body function it tends to shut down are the ones that is not necessary for you to start running if like an animal start coming after you. But it shut down function that is not necessary for survival. So like your fertility system, your digestion, or in your immunity. So and that's the reason why we see a lot of women struggling with weight loss who try all this starvation diet to lose weight tends to also have a lot of body other medical conditions like pain and autoimmune disorder, feeling tired all the time, a lot of aches and pains like fibromyalgia, PCOS, and hypothyroidism, and all of those other hormonal disorder. And the reason is because the starvation triggers the stress response in the body, and the body is shutting down body function to conserve energy. Second thing the body is doing in times of starvation is that your body is actually breaking down tissue to help to create energy for survival. And again, if your body is starving, you're doing a semi-starvation diet, but your semi-starvation diet is full of carbs. Again, all that insulin up there is blocking the fat. So your body is in a starvation state, but cannot dip into the body fat to use. So the only thing that your body is able to use is really to break down tissue from your organs, from your bone, from your muscle, from your heart, from your liver, all of those things to try to create energy to keep you alive. So that's why like if you're doing fasting, intermittent fasting, I'm not against those, but I have my own way to teach my patient how to do it the proper way without feeling starving and in a way that balance the hormones without causing crazy hormonal changes. So like if you're gonna do that, a lower carb, not no carb, and not just counting carbs, just sticking to a low glycemic carbs index diet will help, and a higher fat diet. And I'm not going to be able to discuss the specific of the diet, but definitely if you're going to do fasting, it has to be a high protein, high fat, and low carb. Okay. Oh, what time is it? Okay, maybe a few more questions. Okay, this is another question about workout. So again, workout for weight loss in women is not so much for burning calories, but is more for mental health and conditioning. Just keeping your movement moving, and that's all it is for. The more intense the workout, the slower you're gonna lose the weight. So remember that. Okay. I already eat very little, but I'm not losing any weight due to my chronic illness preventing me from exercising or being active in any way. I'm not sure what to do at this point. Okay, I see this all the time. Like almost a lot of my patients will come into my office and say that, I can't lose weight because I can't exercise. I injure myself. It's really interesting. Like all these people that I see, who was doing fine and then suddenly something happened. It's almost like subconsciously the mind will create something in the life. The break an ankle, hurt a knee, fell down. Something always happened that caused an injury that they cannot work out anymore. And then they'll blame that the fact that they cannot work out for all the weight gain. So it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So you hurt your ankle, and then you tell yourself that, oh, I hurt my ankle, I can't work out, so I'm going to gain weight. But subconsciously, you don't realize that you're saying all that, and then you ended up eating more. But but when you're gaining weight because of eating more, you're still blaming that you're not exercising because of the ankle injury. So like who was the question? So basically, is she felt that she was gaining weight or not losing weight because she's not exercising enough, and that's not true. Because in the whole weight loss, exercise again, exercise. The purpose of exercise is not to burn the calories. It's more for your mental health and also as a coping skills. Because a lot of people, I know there's many of you out there listening, is that you use eating as a way to cope with your feelings. You eat when you're happy, you eat when you're sad, you eat when you have something to celebrate, you eat when you get upset, when someone says something mean to you, or when your boss tell you something or someone say something to you and you don't know how to respond, you just hold everything in, you eat. A lot of people eat for stress, for whatever reason other than feeling the hunger in your body. So that's what exercise is for. And exercise only account for 10% of your weight loss effort. So if you try to put all your eggs into the exercise basket, you'll never achieve your weight loss results. Some you might see some weight loss because you feel like, oh, because when you exercise, it makes you more conscious of your food choices. So ultimately, it is still the food choices that you make that contribute to at least 80 to 90% of your weight loss effort. So in here talking about like a low calorie diet, again, anytime you go on a low calorie diet, that is a sign of starvation for your body. And when your body senses starvation, it turns on that emergency response system. And with the activation of the emergency response system, it shuts down metabolism, shuts down body function, and it makes your sense of food even higher. That's the reason why a lot of times people, when they go on this low calorie diet, 1,200 calories a day, 1,000 calories a day, like in a week or two, they always ended up craving and binge eating something. Because when you're starving yourself, your body makes you preoccupied with food. You're constantly thinking about the food because your body is like, hey, you haven't been eating for 7 days. You need to start finding food before we die. So that's what your body is trying to do. So don't do that. The only way to deactivate the the starvation stress response system is to feed your body food and energy, letting your body know that hey, there's a lot of food available. Because even though you're a super intelligent human being, you consciously, logically know your refrigerator is just right outside around the corner. If you're hungry, there's food available 24/7. You know that consciously and logically, but your subconscious mind doesn't know that because your subconscious mind or the reptilian mind or the primal brain is still functioning at the primal level. The same exact process that our ancestors used thousands of years ago when they don't have refrigerator, they don't have McDonald's, they don't have Whole Foods, Starbucks down the corner, and they have to hunt for food. So that's what happened. So, and you hear me a lot talking about avoiding starvation diet, and I know I'm talking against a lot of the conventional advice that you guys hear, but you know, I know I'm right because I see that every day in my office. When I tell my patient to start eating more and exercising less, 100% of the time they all come back with weight loss. 100% of the time. So I'm very confident with my recommendation. So if you're tired of starving yourself, exercising like a crazy woman 2 hours every day, every single day, tired of working out, tired of keep doing all this dieting thing and the weight's not budging and you're starting to feel that you're crazy, you don't trust yourself anymore, give me a give send me a message or give me a call. I'll put you in the right path and get you losing on going on your weight loss journey and losing weight. Okay, actually there's still tons of questions. Like I think I'm still on. Okay, I just went through the first couple page. Like I still have a lot of questions here. I don't think I'm going to answer all of that. I'll answer it maybe next time. And I'll probably go into a group. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start answering some of the questions in the group as well, as much as I can, or I'll write a couple articles. But I think that's it for today. And thank you so much for listening. And I'm going to be back again next Sunday at the same time, 10 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time. And I think 10 a.m. Hawaii time, 1 p.m. Pacific time, and Central, I don't remember anymore. So, but anyway, you can look it up on your Apple phone in the clock and find the time. If not, all of these will be recorded on Facebook. It'll be there on Instagram. It'll be there, and I'm also posting this on YouTube channel. So, and don't forget to subscribe, follow, join my group, and stay connected with me so we can keep this conversation going. So, and let me know how I can help you make your life better, make your health better, and help you achieve a better, healthier weight and happier, healthy you. Okay? Bye bye.